Prime Minister Yoshihiko Noda's decision to call an election in December may inhibit the government's ability to stimulate an economy that's sliding toward its third recession in 4 years. Compiling an extra budget soon will be difficult as lawmakers cannot debate spending with the Diet dissolved, Economy Minister Seiji Miyachiura said this week. Stimulus using reserve funds won't be enough to support the economy, he said at a briefing in Tokyo today. Constraints on government action had extra pressure for loosening by the Bank of Japan 8301 to spur growth, counter deflation and weaken the yen. Opposition leader Shinzo Abe's call for unlimited easing had a bigger effect on the currency than the central bank's most recent monetary loosening on October 30, sending the yen to a 6-month low against the dollar yesterday. If the budget is delayed, or if the supplementary budget is undecided, there is a risk that the recession, which should be for 2 quarters, could last for 3 or even 4 quarters, said Junichi Makino, chief economist in Tokyo at SMBC Nikko Securities Incorporated, the unit of Japan's second-largest bank by market value. Finance Minister Kuriki Jojima today pledged another round of stimulus using reserve funds after announcing 400 billion yen for $0.9 billion of measures last month. Economic downgrade. The Japanese government today downgraded its view of the economy for a 4th month, the longest streak since the global financial crisis, as exports fall and demand weakens. Panasonic Corporation this week said it plans to cut 8,000 jobs in the second half of this fiscal year as the Japanese TV maker restructures amid falling demand and a rising yen. Noda will dissolve the lower house of parliament today and go to the polls on December 16. Japan's economy shrank an annualized 3.5% last quarter and will contract 0.4% in this 3-month period, according to the median of 24 estimates in a Bloomberg survey, the third technical recession since 2008. Japanese recessions are officially defined by a government-charged panel that considers data beyond GDP figures. Japan's Topics Index is headed for the biggest to-date gain in more than a year on speculation that the election will be followed by more aggressive monetary action. The Topics rose 1.4% to 746.35 as of 10:41 a.m. in Tokyo, with about 2 shares advancing for each that fell. The gauge is headed for a to-date gain of 3.4%. For the week, the measure is set to rise 2.3%. The Nikkei 225 stock average climbed 1.7% to 8,975.05, with volume more than 55% above the 30-day average. No time. Abe, the leader of the Liberal Democratic Party, yesterday called for unlimited easing until deflation is ended, an inflation target of 2 to 3%, and immediate, bold policy, saying there is no time to wait for the BOJ governor to change next year. So I want to act now and do what I can. Abe's demands are very radical in the sense that it completely ignores the notion that a central bank should work independent from the government. Masamichi Adachi, the senior economist at JP Morgan Securities Japan Company in Tokyo and a former central bank official, said in an emailed research note. The yen sank to a 6-month low against the dollar after Abe's comments yesterday, trading at 81.46 late yesterday in Tokyo after falling 1.1% the day before. The currency was at 81.15 per dollar at 11.07 a.m. in Tokyo. Spending pledge. Abe also yesterday said that an LDP government would increase public investment. A party policy proposal from June called for spending an extra 15 trillion yen over 3 years. What's influential to the economy is whether a post-election government will choose an aggressive fiscal spending policy, said Norietsu Tanchi, a fixed-income strategist at Barclays plc in Tokyo. If a new government opts for an aggressive fiscal stance, then it will be a factor to increase bond issuance and may raise bond yields. Elsewhere in Asia, Hong Kong's economic growth probably accelerated last quarter, while Malaysia's slowed, economists forecast before government reports due today. Singapore's gross domestic product fell 5.9% in the 3 months through September from the prior quarter, the final reading showed today. Industrial output growth in the U.S. probably slowed to 0.2% in October from 0.4% in September, economists predicted before a report in Washington. Delayed budget in Japan. It would be the first time since 1993 that the finance ministry has delayed budget compilation into the new year. The process is usually completed by late December to allow enough time for Parliament to vote on the bills before the fiscal year begins in April. If passage of the bills are delayed past April, the government would need to compile a stopgap budget which would only allow minimum mandatory spending to cover the gap. The delay in drafting next year's budget will likely have a negative impact on the economy in spring, said Kiichi Murashima, chief economist at Citigroup Incorporated. The government may try to submit a large-scale extra budget of at least 3 trillion yen in the new year to make up for the delay, he said.